All right, so we're recording. All right, so we'll call this, I'll put this up as, meeting 2. We just ended our first meeting with all kinds of problems. All 6 of the people that were on the first meeting were trying to come back onto this meeting. And I was sitting here live waiting to admit, and they were all sending me text messages saying, hey, we're trying to get in and we can't. So, apparently because I put the word out that we were going to discuss organizing the militia, we're being sabotaged and messed with here pretty badly through Zoom. So we are going to look for another alternative platform. But again, I just want to make the significant points on these first couple of videos. We're here to encourage, I can't even say to encourage the American people, right? To encourage anybody and everybody that can go to militiausa.org and read where it says militia, philosophy, creed, and oath, and agree with that. Anybody who can read where it says 10 qualification preferences for a militia point man and agrees with that. Anybody that doesn't have fear, anybody that knows that we're standing up for our dignity and our rights based upon the law. And we're simply endeavoring to start getting the militia that we always hear about organized. No, again, that doesn't mean that we're sitting here trying to round up a bunch of guys with guns to march to Washington, because anybody that does that is going to be rounded up as seditionists and terrorists and domestic terrorists, and we're not stupid. So we know that there are a majority of Americans, the majority of Americans voted for Donald J. Trump. I was Donald J. Trump's greatest supporter. I do not support Donald J. Trump anymore because in his 4th term, before all the election fiasco started, I was made aware of certain things about his affiliations with filling his cabinet with Zionist Jews. And I'm familiar with that whole that's part of the upper echelon New World Order regime, the so-called Zionist Jews. The fact that he was appointing 3 Jesuits to the Supreme Court. Again, they might be good Jesuits. Those Supreme Court justices might just be, they just happen to be Jesuits because they went through their Catholic training and they could be good people. There's nothing nefarious about them. That could be the case. But with my rich knowledge of biblical prophecy in Daniel and Revelation, and knowing that the biblical beast in Daniel and Revelation is the Roman Catholic Vatican papal institution that ran the world supremely for 1,500 years throughout the Dark Ages. And the Bible says that the beast received a deadly wound and the deadly wound will be healed. In other words, like the Roman Catholic Vatican papal institution is going to get its power back and it's going to control the world supremely. I don't care if it's the Roman Catholic Vaticans, if it's the Jews, if it's the Zionist Jews, if it's just a group of rich elite billionaires. I don't care who or what they are. If they have a new world order, one world government agenda, and they want to try to control the entire world, and they want to break down all nations, and have a one world order government that will certainly be communist and tyrannical under their rule, I'm opposed to that. I believe we should have nations because that's a checks and balance system. If we have a one world government, a one world order, new world order, one world government, that little group of families, they control the media, they control technology, they control everything, they control vaccines and the pharmaceutical industries, and they control the technology that's being put into vaccines, and they control all of that. And now they're going to call the shots for every other human being on earth. They're the ones that are going to tag, track, monitor, send out frequencies to make people sick, kill people, whatever. They're going to control population. They're going to use technology to control everybody. I'm opposed to that. I'm for sovereignty of nations. And it just so happens that the United States of America has these things going for us called the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution of the United States of America, the Bill of Rights, federal civil rights, the Americans with Disabilities Act, U.S. codes, 42 U.S. code, 18 U.S. code, right? Things that were put in place not to give us our rights, but to protect our God-given inalienable rights. The First Amendment, the Second Amendment, right? which was not put into place to go hunting, not put in place to protect our family at home. It was to give us a fighting chance to defend against a tyrannical government. What is a tyrannical government? A tyrannical government is a government that violates our God-given inalienable rights and infringes upon our rights and is overbearing and intrusive, as the Declaration of Independence says, right? When the government becomes destructive of these ends, what ends? Our peace, our safety, our happiness, our rights. When they become destructive of that end, it is the right of the people to abolish that government. So how do we do it? Well, we don't say there's a bunch of guys in the backwoods. Don't worry, boys, the militia's got this, because those are going to be skirmishes. Those are going to be people that are going to be rounded up as seditionists and domestic terrorists. No, what we do is we say, well, militia, we the people are the militia. We're not saying we're grabbing guns and marching to Washington. We're just saying, let's organize ourselves. Let's organize we the people. Let's have a network. Let's have a point man in every county that you can call. You can go to the website, militiausa.org. Click on your state, click on your county, and see a name and a phone number. You can call that person and they'll say, yes, first weekend of the month, we're doing meetings on the laws and our rights. Second, weekend of the month, we're doing range shooting and training and gun safety seminars and training, whatever, right? Organize. We have a point man and he's got a little, some assistants, right? And they've got, that county, right, working on the people there, being organized as the militia, as the people. They're being organized and they're being trained in gun safety and trained on the laws. And they wear shirts that say, I am militia. Second Amendment, I am militia. All of them wearing a shirt that says, I am militia. And they're a group and they're legal, they're lawful, and they're simply exercising their right under the First Amendment, under the Second Amendment to meet, to gather, to have a meeting, peaceful, lawful, and to discuss the issues that are going on within our government, right? And they do that in every single county, and all those county point men nominate or elect or appoint a state point man who works with the governor, right? All the point men in the counties, they're up front. This whole thing is not secret. It's in the open. It's up front. See, that's one of their psyops, is to make people think, hey guys, we need to get some kind of an online platform that's private, man, that's encrypted, so we can go in there and talk about what we're doing. That's all bullshit. They're probably putting that together so that they can get the people that think they can say more over there. And those are the ones that are being rounded up behind our back right now as seditionists, because they are saying a little too much over there in those so-called private areas, private, like we're using Zoom right now, right? There's a bunch of others I've heard of. I forgot the name of them off the top of my head, but places you can go where people think they're secure. No, man. These people that are pushing for a new world order, one world government own all the technology. They own all the platforms. Though it wouldn't be surprising to me if the same ones that own YouTube that block everybody and censor everybody also own BitChute and Rumble and Odyssey, right? So they can kind of start funneling, what they would call extremists being those who are opposed to them and their agenda. So by all means, we are extremists to them, to the enemy, right? We are extremists to them, and they're looking for ways to round us up. They're looking to create skirmishes, just like they're trying to divide the people on the whole, right? Republican, Democrat, black, white, right? Jews, Catholics, all the psyops, right? Let's get people all divided and thinking that this person and that person and this person, and let's piss them off with faulty elections. Let's piss them off by having polar opposite, a decrepit, old, dribbling, senile fool running against the patriotic American, pro-American Bill Walz and Trump, right? They're both playing good cop, bad cop for the NWO. They're both working for the same system. It's not about Trump. Trump's not going to save the day. We are. And how are we going to do it? By organizing, which means we're communicating like we're doing now. And instead of there being 3 on here, there's 300. and then there's
Bring
3,000.
that.
And we're saying, hi, Zoom. Hi, Zoom. Hi, communists. Hey, Zuckerberg. Hey, New World Order people. Yes, we're here telling you we're opposed to you. We're opposed to your New World Order government, and we're claiming our God-given rights, and we're claiming the laws that protect our rights. Yes, candidly, openly. And we're the militia, and we're organizing and growing in every county so that in the end, we have an organized mass of we the people that are opposed to you so that we can have our national point men go to Washington with a form that all of our militia point men had a meeting and agreed with, yes, the government is violating our rights here, 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 and here. This is illegal. This is unconstitutional. This is wrong. It needs to stop. We're going to pursue it lawfully, legally through the courts. We're going to tell you to stop. Or if you push us to where we have no choice, the Declaration of Independence says it is the right of the people to abolish the government when it's destructive of these ends. Our peace, our safety, our happiness, our rights under law. So we're not a bunch of guys that are out trying to round up guns and go march to Washington and get ourselves in trouble. Of course not. We're true Americans that believe in God Almighty. We believe in traditional family values. We believe in morality. We believe in decency. We believe that communists have infiltrated and hijacked our government, and they are destroying our nation from within. We believe that. Yes, we admit it openly, candidly. And we're going to try to, we are organizing. We're going to organize ourselves because we are the militia. We're the militia.
I asked you a question in an earlier meeting. I asked you a question on chat. Out of 200 million plus sheep, how do you organize, that many people that's already ready to fall into that sheep mentality?
Yeah, I'm sorry, say that one more time. There was a little noise. I didn't hear the first part of what you were saying. One more time.
My knowledge of what's going on the last couple of years, 200 plus million people have been, in my opinion, are sheep. They jumped right on the mandate bandwagon. They jumped on the vaccine bandwagon. How do you get those 200 million, which is, the American people, how do you get them to change their mindset to say, we don't need to do this? That's where
Right.
I'm at. I understand everything you said, and we need to focus on, organizing, but how do you organize sheep other than just, like you do any of the sheep, let them do what they want and herd them when they need to be herded, like our government's doing. How do we change that paradigm?
Yeah, Dan, Michael and I were talking about it on the phone when he called me. He says, I'm here in Oregon, and my wife has to go in a pharmacy to get some medication, and they won't give it to her unless she puts a face diaper over her face and restricts her breathing, her airways. So what do you do about that? And I said, well, that's actually a good point, Michael, and we've addressed it here in Florida. I will tell you that everything that's on the bigvirushoax.com, as it was being published on that site through 2020 into 2021, we were flooding it to Ron DeSantis's office, his email, phone calls, his Twitter, his Facebook. And there were 4 specific issues where he came out in the media and addressing hard issues that we were pushing. If we had anything to do with it, I don't know. I know that we've been very loud, very vocal. And again, everything on that site has been pushed to Ron DeSantis. And Governor Ron DeSantis,
Sure.
a lot of people are opposed to him thinking, he's just kissing up to the Zionists and the Jews and the papacy. I give them all the benefit of the doubt, just like I did with Trump. What I do know is that Ron DeSantis himself, look, the vast majority of people who mean well, and even though they might be off on their, doctrines and their beliefs, and, they might disagree, right? Within the realm of Christianity, right? There's, all kinds of sects and denominations that have different views. It's fair to say that the vast majority of Christians, or people that consider themselves Christians, or even maybe they want to be Christians, they kind of correlate the Jews as being God's chosen people. Whether that's right or wrong, the point is that's their mindset. So it could be somebody like Ron DeSantis, who, was a Navy commander and an intelligent guy and doesn't know anything at all about, Roman Catholic Vatican papal institution history and Bible prophecies and Daniel and Revelation and this concept of Zionist Jews and the bankers that all got together 100 years ago and decided that they're going to control the banks, and they're going to call themselves Zionist Jews, we're the Zionist Jews, we're here with our, association, and we're going to control everything. He's just kind of blasé and kind of ignorant to that. He's just going with the flow, and he just sees things as, hey, he's just believing he's doing the right thing. There's a lot of people that may follow the beast and not know they're following the beast, right? And they mean well.
That's my point. That's what I'm saying. You and I, if we're on this meeting today, we know that a lot of this stuff is happening especially over the last 2 years, but this has been going on, 150 years ago, or if you want to go even back 3,000 years ago, this has all started to control us. So how did you get 200 million plus people that's already decided that they have to follow the science, if you will, or they have to follow the status quo in order to survive? How do you change their minds and get them into this forum? Where do you go, and how do you, other than going to the parks and handing out little flyers and trying to get people to come to these meetings and listen, and I guess that's the approach. I answered my own question. We have to get our ideas out to everybody so we can proliferate more than just 3 or 4 people at a time.
That is a big part of it, is the awake. We're always hearing about the awakening, right? People are waking up now, right? So yes, people do need to wake up, and we need to be educating people. That is kind of first and foremost, but it's complicated even more by virtue of the fact that, I don't know what percentage to put on it, but just to make my point, let's say that half of the population of the United States of America are willful fools, or ignorant, or self-destructive, or godless, or inhumane. They don't care. They don't care about their rights. They're just looking again for that next vape, that next cigarette, that next bag of Cheetos, that next, ball game. They don't care about God. They don't care about morality. They don't care about anything. They're just zombies, and they don't care, and they won't wake up. They are that liberal, progressive, lunatic mentality kind of people, right? They're all for, murdering babies that are in the womb, right? Even if it's at 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 months, right? They're murderous. They're psychopaths. Really, a great many of them are just lunatics. So how many of them are, let's say 20% are the real bad ones that are just loons. The mere fact that they exist, they themselves have an influence on that other 20 to 30% that do lean to the left, that do favor the liberal progressive mindset. So it's like a pull. And again, since that is the New World Order, one world government agenda, is to funnel all of humanity into a godless, immoral, perverse, transsexual, transgender, transhumanism, self-destructive mold for humanity, because that's their goal. So they can point to God and say, look at your sick little humans. Look at them. Look how pathetic they are. And so they can scoff at God. They want to destroy humanity. They want to destroy humanity to the point where there's no more humanity. It's going to be AI. It's going to be robots. They think they're going to transfer their consciousness into artificial bodies. I mean, these people are sick. So you're right. Where do we draw the line on us saying, wait a minute, you people are sick, and yet we let them keep getting away with being the ones that are running the show? No.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. I mean, they've even got it set up where our voting system, if nobody voted, say everybody just didn't vote one year, you get them out, drain the swamps, whatever you want to call it. But they've got it in place on the electoral system to where if nobody voted in the House of Representatives, they vote. So really, whoever goes in there is going to be done by proxy, or it's going to be done by the system already. So where do you fit this militia piece into it, other than just defending yourself when you come to your home, right? Or a group of us get together and move to Montana, and we set up a fortress and we wait for them to come to us and we defend ourselves. I can't see from just watching how the public has been lately that 20%, you're cutting it really thin. I think there's more. I mean, 250 million people is still giving their children these shots and still following this mandate. In Oregon, I can't drive by a post office or a school with my concealed weapon. If I get pulled over, it's a felony. Bang. So those things that I'm trying to get people to understand, it's not constitutional per se, and it's not vaccine per se. It's the whole the mindset of these 200 plus million people that just don't see it, or they see it or they don't want to see it. I don't know what the difference is.
Right. Well, and again, I want to try to get it onto the video, what we discussed, because what I did tell Michael when we were talking on the phone, Dan, and then I want you to put your mind in on this, Dan. I told him, I said, a lot of people don't even know, right? They don't know. They don't know their rights. They don't know the laws that protect their rights. They don't know any better. They think that a government mandate applies to them when it doesn't. A government mandate only applies to the government. Most people don't know that. They think it applies to them. It doesn't apply to the people.
I agree with that, but how do you get them? How do you get them to change that mindset?
Well, it's again, in part.
Say, hey, look, the Constitution says you're not allowed to do this, but yet they still don't get it because no, the government's strong. What are we going to do? You know, it's hard.
It's a two-edged sword here because we want to grow and organize the militia. That's kind of a long-term goal, a long-term, short-term, right? We need to organize because we need to make that happen because it's never happened before. It needs to be organized, structured. That's the militia. You can pick up the phone and call your local point man in every county, in every state. We know we've got a militia organizing. We have the right to do that. We need to do that. So we need to be working on that. At the same time, yes, we need to keep educating people. TheBigVirusHoax.com, I created that website specifically to be the greatest website on the internet where people can go to learn the truth about viruses, what they are and what they're not, the science behind viruses, vaccines, what's in them, what vaccines are about, the whole thing of merging technologies into vaccines. Anything and everything having to do with vaccines and viruses was the primary purpose of that site. But then we started getting into the social media censorship and how that's a crime. Then we started getting into the masking and the dangers of wearing face diapers and rebreathing your own carbon dioxide and rebreathing your mouth-filled bacterial waste in and out of your lungs all day. We started getting into the whole thing of what our rights are and how to stand for your rights and how to communicate with police officers. So I did all kinds of videos over the last 2 years where I would go to a place of public accommodation and carry on with my business. Just ignore them, right? I don't wear them for religious reasons and I don't wear them for health reasons. I'm protected and stand to that. A lot of people are afraid to do that, let alone the fact they don't even know about that. So I did my best to be an example, and there's a lot of videos on our website showing me doing that, kind of showing how to do it, how to go about it. All the laws are on our website, and I have great videos on the rights page where I'm having conversations with people that called me from Colorado and Washington and Oregon, where I had hour-long conversations explaining it all to them. So there's great resources at thebigvirushoax.com for people to get more educated on all of those issues. So we have to keep pushing people to get educated. The best way to do that is to point them to thebigvirushoax.com. It truly is. That's why I created the site. It's not about me or my site. No, it was an objective site of let me compile the best of the best information and let me take a stand calmly, politely with police officers and video record the whole process. So I did what I could to make resources for people there. I started doing righteousarmy.org and now militiausa.org because yes, it's evolving to the point where here's your education, thebigvirushoax.com. Here's your take action, righteousarmy.org. We need to take action.
I have another question for you. With all of these militia sites, I mean, there's a lot of them, the 3%ers, I can't even think now. Anyway, there's a lot of them out there. There's the Proud Boys up here. They've got the Sons of Liberty. They've got all kinds of these. How come those aren't converging? Why don't those groups, if they always say they've got hundreds of thousands of people behind them, how come they can't all merge why can't we all merge into one militia, a nation militia, instead of all these one-off sites that are going their own ways, having their own barbecues, having their own websites, and I think we're getting to
Let me answer that for you, because I don't know if I answered that with you or with Dave when he called me. But here's the bottom line on that. All the people that are on the left, anybody that voted for Joe Biden, anybody that's a leftist loon, all those people are literally sheeple. They're easy to control. So an Obama or George Soros can have them all do whatever they want them to do. But on the right, it's hardworking family, traditional family value people that have decency and morals, and they're thinkers and they're hard workers. So if all of a sudden they start dipping their toe in an issue here, hey, well, this needs to be addressed, they want to be a leader. They're all leaders. We're all leaders on the right. You want to be a leader. I want to be a leader. Dan wants to be a leader. And when we want to be a leader, we want to lead. We want to organize. We want to have success with that. Because, I mean, let's face it, we even need financial support in this world, right? I mean, I'm literally without any money. at all. I have no money. So I've asked for support through my website, and it went up to 23 subscribers on Subscribestar, and now it's down to 15. It started trickling as things were opening up and there's no more restrictions and nobody's worried about, let's see what Mike's doing to go out there and fight for his rights. Let's support him. That's like what was happening. But now they let up and all my support is just waning. It's going away. But yet I still am fighting the good fight. On the top video on my website is showing how I'm going right through the entire process of filing charges against the state attorney's chief investigator. I'm not doing that just for me. I'm doing it as a protocol, as a precedent for the people. Look, you have to stand for your rights and you got to follow through with it.
Right, I understand that, but that's my point. How can we get, say there's only three, militias here in the whole United States. Why can't those three, like you and me and Daniel here, say we all own and we're all Republicans? How come we can't pull those three together? Why is that so hard? Why does everybody have to be a leader? Why isn't it important for the end result to be to get the support we're looking for from all three? Go to the
right.
Where do you do that? How anybody there try to meet with each president of each one of these sites or not?
Well, I mean, that would be part of what you're going to do, what I'm going to do, what we all need to do. See, this is the beginning. As you can see at militiausa.org, I put a page on there for the states. And the whole idea there is I took the time to put the state flag and the state constitution and a link to the state constitution on everything, single state. So people can at least go and they can click on their state and they can click on the link to their state constitution. Now, what else needs to be there? When somebody calls me and says, yes, I live in this county in this state, I'll go in there and write this county, that person's name, their email address, and their phone number, and there'll be a link to that county and that person saying, I'll be the contact man for this area. We need to get it happening. You're right. It's frustrating that these groups, it's all part of the craziness. I just got the message that this is going to end in 10 minutes.
I didn't want to take up any time. I just wanted to understand, surely there's got to be some sort of unification between all of these militias that are already out there, but it doesn't seem like there are any. I've looked at all these sites, all these states, they all have their own little version, whether they be Republican state or whether it be a Democrat state, they have their own little niches that I can't seem to get my hand around.
At the risk of sounding arrogant, and I don't want to, I'm almost sorry. I genuinely believe that divine inspiration. I really believe, not for me, that for whatever reason I have to be the messenger. That the perfect message, I just happen to be the deliverer of it. It's perfect. It's perfect. I've never heard anybody else say it, and it's perfect. A point man in every county. Call him. He'll tell you when we're organizing and where. In fact, that person can be, having his little entourage contacting the Proud Boys and this militia group and that militia group and making it, hey, we're having a militia group meeting, right? And when and then even at that, we have to get the right people. That's why I did the 10 bullet points on what would be the preferred, qualifications. I mean, where are the Navy SEALs? Where are the Green Beret? Where are these patriots that served, that have arms trainings and that believe in the Constitution? Call me. I've been screaming this for months. Mike, 305-910-6206. Come on, become the point man in your county. You're the point man. You're going to deal with your sheriff. You're going to coordinate with other militias. And you're going to say, look, in this county, here's our militia. We're going to start doing training. We're going to do training on the laws, training on judicial procedures, training on gun safety, training on shooting. We'll go out to the woods, to the lake, wherever we go, the gun range, and we'll talk about gun safety and weaponry and ammunition and everything else. Organize in the county on a county level. That's not me, because I can't do that in every county, right? So it's not about me, but it's the perfect message. Where are they at? The website? I don't care if there's another website doing that. Somebody call me and let me know that website already exists. I'll link my website to that site, and I'll keep doing videos telling everybody to go to that website. But is there another website out there that says, here's your state, click on it. There's your county, click on it. There's your militia point man in your county. There's his phone number. There's his email address. Here's the days that they have meetings at this location. Does that exist? I don't think so. To me, that's the perfect answer. I just happened to come up with it, or it was given to me, or it rolled around in this brain. So this brain is pushing that, because that is the perfect answer. We have to do that. That's organizing. That's organizing the militia. We have to make that happen.
Yeah, I get that. It's like the American National Militia. It's out there and it's got this thing about how sovereignty's being attacked by, like you said, the Soros, the far left, right, the far left. But that site's been dead since 2018. You see what I mean? It just seems like everybody's got good intentions, and I'm sure you have the great intentions too. Like you said, you've got this divine calling that you feel that you need to get this out. But you're going to wait for somebody to come to your site to click on the link to say I'm here in Oregon, to say I want to help, and that's going to take some time and waiting. And I don't know if we have that much time and waiting. Another 4 years, another 2.5 years goes by, we're going to be in the same boat we were, but it's going to be on the right. I believe, like you said, I don't think there's a good right and a good left, or a bad right or a bad left. I think they're all in cahoots together, and we happen to be the guinea pigs. And I just don't want to go through another term of fighting for the freedoms that were given to us, 150 years ago, or whatever the years are, 300 years ago.
Dan, sorry, brother, hit it. Give us some last words. We'll come back on if you want to. We'll do another session right after this if you guys want to. But go ahead, Dan.
Do some more research on it. I'm going to do like you said. If you'll give me some time, I'm going to call a few people, see if I can get some interest, and see if I'm going to try to contact a couple of these militias that are in our area, and maybe the Idaho, Montana area, just my little tri-state area here, just to see what their take is, and see if they're willing to lean toward a true national militia for all states, not just the red, white, or the red or the brown or blue, but for all of us, not like it was back in the 1700s. I mean, it wasn't the 13 colonies were the 13 colonies. They weren't the 12. They weren't the 11. I mean, they all band together to do what was right. So.
But by the way, this is so important that I decided I'm going to do this meetings every Sunday at 7 and Wednesday at 6:30. So
your time,
I'm going to be on here again at 6:30. So Michael, can I put you on the website as being the point man in what county? Washington County, Oregon.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Dan.
I was just going to say that a large part of this, what we're going through right now, is a moral question. So all of these little nuances we're talking about, waking people up, you can't wake up the morally dead, okay? So first thing you got to make people aware of is the fact that they're immoral. The reason we're in this fix is they're immoral. They worship an idol called money. They worship an idol called government, okay? So it's a moral question. So the founding fathers had the same issue. The only difference is in the 1600s and early 1700s, most Americans were moral. We were followers of the creator mentioned in the Bible. Okay, so we had that in common. We were a homogeneous people. The enemy has gotten us into this state by taking away both of those. We no longer believe in the God of the Bible because the churches are a joke. All the churches, all the organized churches are a joke. So they've taken away our faith, and they've brought in a mixed multitude of people, so we're no longer homogenous. And they've given citizenship to people that our founding fathers never intended to have it. So you've got all these issues going on right now at the same time. You're trying to organize people that don't have any of this stuff in common. So the only thing we do have in common is the moral issue. So you're hoping that there's enough real Americans left out there, and men would still have some balls, that are going to see the fact that we've become an immoral people. And the righteous men have to stand up and say, we're not going to back up anymore. We're not going to take any more of your bullshit. The government is our servant. It's not a master. But we have to become moral. We have to be righteous first. If we're not righteous, we're not going to win. I don't give a shit if you got a national militia or not. And unrighteous people don't deserve to win. This is a moral problem, and we have to be moral men. And when we show the moral leadership that people are looking for, you're going to have all the volunteers you could handle. But right now, they're looking for that. We got plenty of pontificating political gurus out here that think that there's all kind of institutional fixes for what's basically a moral problem. Let's fix the moral problem, because moral, righteous men don't care about money. They don't care about being called names. They don't care about what the government's doing. They don't live in a state of fear. I like that saying that's out there right now. Everything you ever wanted to be is on the other side of fear. A tyrant gets away with being a tyrant because of your fear of resistance. So you
Yeah.
have to become a moral, God-fearing man who will lead his household, lead his precinct, lead his county, lead his state from a position of morality and righteousness. If we don't have that, it doesn't matter what we've got. We could have Abrams tanks parked in our front yard. We're still going to lose.
No, I agree. It's kind of like what you said the first time, Mike. That guy that you said you were talking to, was a religious guy, said, well, he knows Christ is going to come back and take care of it all because the Bible gives us a roadmap of what's going to happen. So he's just going to sit back and wait for Jesus to come and solve the problems. But in the meantime, I agree with Daniel. The morality in this country is not. It's not. I've seen it decline over the last 15 years of my life, and I've been kind of disgusted with myself in some respect, because I was kind of doing the same thing. I worked at an Intel for 20 years, and I did the thing I was told to do. I wrote the code. I did it. I just did what I was going to do and didn't really care about what was going on. But one day I woke up. I said, wait a minute, the world is just terrible. It's just a terrible place. And that's where I came up with this 250 million people flat just did what they were told to do. And that just shocked me. I thought there was going to be a rebellion then. But when I saw them just all leaning right in, it just people I walk by in the streets, I see like Dan was saying, the immorality there. They're just terrible people that you have to deal with on a daily basis. Now, I'm not judging, by no means, but you can see it, you can feel it, and it's just hard to get my head around how do you cope to get 250 million people back to morality, back to Christ, and make a difference. So other than your approach, get it out there and get somebody to